Keep holding it. Keep holding it. The wheel's spinning. There you go. You're live.
Are you sure?
I mean, the clock is ticking, but you got to scroll up to see the screen. There you go.
I still don't know how to do it.
It says you're live, and the clock's ticking. 15 seconds already. You've been holding that pose. What's up, everybody?
Hello. How is everybody doing today? It is Talk About It Tuesday.
4 o'clock on Tuesday.
4 o'clock on Tuesday. We're nothing if not punctual people. Let me tell you that. We are always on time.
Don't promise that, because then we'll end up being late.
We do our best to be
on time.
Typically, if we're going to be late to something, it's other people's fault. Not all. I mean, like
Sure.
99.2%
Other
of the
people
time.
as in the kids.
No, I usually do pretty good with them too.
Yep.
What are we talking about today on Talk About It Tuesday? We're talking about money, right? What did you just ask me? Can you go grab a stack of cash and like make it rain in the air?
Yes, that's what I asked.
Nope. Because I clean in this house, and I don't want to have to clean it up, even if it is money. It's not like I get to go spend it or anything. So yeah, we're in the middle of a series of Talk About It Tuesday, talking about the money.
Third money episode?
Third money episode. We talked about steps to the mortgage process.
Yep. We
talked about the 10 commandments of buying a home.
Yep.
Like thou shalt not
do stupid stuff with money.
Quit your job. Become self-employed.
Go buy a new car while you're trying to buy a house.
So we did those two already, and today we are talking about gathering the green. Yes. Saving up money. And I'm hoping that we parked both of us up here today to talk about it. Jerry, tell us about yourself. How long have you been selling real estate? Doing this?
10 years. 10 years.
10 long years.
So, so basically, I am going to talk about the different ways to potentially come up with the money.
Like during the deal, like stuff correct. That I don't even know.
Of course, the number one most obvious, simplest, well, not simplest, but the most obvious way to come up with down payment, closing cost money, the money that you need to be able to buy the house, is savings. And so Rachel is going to talk about that part.
I think we're going to both approach it from our own wheelhouse.
Because there's two ways to come up with money, right? You can either make it. I'm like moving away from the camera. You can make it, or you can save it.
Right.
And my job in our household is making it, and her job in our household is saving it.
Correct. So I'm going to go through some, for those who don't know, Jerry and I went to a one-income household 10 years ago when he went into real estate. We decided that I wanted to stay home with our kids when they were young. And so we went from having 2 incomes to 1 income. And I picked up some tips and tricks along the way. So I want to run through a list of some of the things that you may or may not be doing to save money to help contribute towards the goal here. The dream here is saving money for a down payment for a house, down payment, closing costs. I want to say probably your number one step in the process is to know how much you need to save. You need to have an amount that you've consulted with Jerry or a mortgage person or whoever your professionals are, and let us know if you need help figuring it out. But we can help you do the math of, I need X amount of money.
So you need a goal, right?
You need a goal.
You need to know what that goal is. Otherwise, how are you ever going to know when you get there?
When you've gotten there. Right. Hi, Liz. Hi, everybody who's watching, by the way. Hello. How are you? It's good to see you guys. I'm so glad you're joining us.
Are you going to pose for each person that pops
up? Every person that pops up, every time. Adorable. So yes, we are talking about setting a goal. Jerry, you can help. What's the rule of thumb? How much should people be saving? Give me the easiest, explain like I'm 5 number. Is it 3% of how much house you're trying to get?
So
5%? What's the
I mean, obviously, of course, it's going to depend on the type of loan.
Yeah. I don't want any of that. I'm at the very beginning. I have $0 in a bank account. I want to throw a number on the board. How much should you save when you're like, I want to buy a house? What's a good number?
So the easiest rule of thumb is the easiest loan to qualify for is an FHA loan.
Okay.
Requires 3.5% down payment. Plus, you got to have closing costs. You got to get it from somewhere, which we're going to talk about.
See, this is getting more complicated.
So
5%,
3.5%.
4%.
So I would just call it, if you say 7%.
Okay.
Of the purchase price of the house, because that gives you 3.5% for down payment and 3.5% for closing costs.
Okay.
That is like
7%. So throw a number out there.
That should be able to get you in.
Okay, cool. I mean, I feel like that gives you a starting place. So when you go to gather the green or gather up the amount of money, that doesn't mean that you should wait until you have 7% in savings before you ever. Rich Brecklin, can you have $5? Do I owe you $5?
You might be able to buy a house with $5. It depends on the type of loan that you qualified for, Rich.
Ooh, I like it. I like a challenge. So
Suncoast has Homes for Heroes.
Oh,
Do you still qualify for that? I don't think you do anymore since you're a realtor now and not.
Have you guys seen that Italy selling homes for €1? You just have to like pitch them how you're going to repair the falling apart old houses. We're investigating. So 7%. That doesn't mean wait until you have 7% in savings before you consult with professionals like your realtor.
Yeah.
Or your mortgage person.
If you want to buy a house and you only have $5, like Rich Brecklin.
He don't even have any. He's asking for something. He got nothing as far as I'm concerned.
Call me and let's put together a game plan and let's talk about the different options available because there are some programs that you can get in with zero money down.
But, okay, so let's throw that out there. Say you're just like, next year I don't want to sign a lease. I'm going to try and save up money. Let's make a goal of saving 7%. Yes. So let's start talking about how you can start saving that cash. So step 1 is figure out what your goal is. Step 2 is set up a separate savings account. Go to whoever you bank with. We bank with Suncoast Credit Union. I know a lot of you are here in Southwest Florida too and bank with Suncoast Credit Union. They will allow you to open up, I think I have like 6 savings accounts with them, and it's like labeled like here's tax money, here's investment money, here's vacation money, you can do those things. You can go into your bank and set up a separate savings account line.
It's basically like the old school envelope program.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey's envelope system, only it's like electronic
in your bank.
Right, so I don't have cash sitting around.
Transfer the money over.
So I would suggest you go in and do that. Open up a savings account, put the line down as down payment for house, and start putting it in there and making it like in your mind untouchable.
And a lot of banks, you can actually set it up, like you can tell them if you're setting up a separate savings account, like, hey, I don't want a debit card for this account.
Yep.
So you physically have to go into the bank. We have a client that we did that with because they were afraid that every time they saved money, they would end up spending it.
Yep.
So we had them go set up a savings account and said, do not give me a debit card for this account. So the only way they can get that money out is by going into the bank. And so then when it came time to close, they went into the bank and did the wire transfer over to title.
And so, all right. So step 1 is put like a goal amount in place. Step 2 is create an electronic place to put all of this money. Step 3 is going to be do your monthly budget of your household. You should know exactly how much you're bringing in and how much your expenses are. And it takes, I don't know, dude, how long I do this. I run all of the numbers for our household and our business. I touch our numbers every single week. You could do it. Yeah, you could do it monthly.
But if you don't know, once you decide to talk about buying a house, that would be the time to figure it out.
Now's the time.
And if you're not sure how to do it, call us.
Let us know. Let me know. I can help you do that. And so you're going to create a budget of what your current expenses are and how much your current income is, and look at how much you can allocate each and every month towards that down payment for your house, like gathering that green up. There are ways, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are a lot of companies who will allow you to go into your payroll department and set up, like, you can give them an amount and say, I want to transfer $100 from every pay period to this different account, where you could do like internal accounting where you don't even get the chance to touch it or take it. You can set it up in the back end to just have them default and send that to that new savings account that you guys have. And then, so you could do that. And there are also apps that you guys can get that it's where they round up and dump it into an account of yours, where like every time you swipe your debit card and it's $4.16 at Starbucks, they'll give you the extra 84 cents. It'll dump it into that specific savings account. And that's just another way of quickly and easily shuffling money in that direction. So once you've done your monthly budget and you can kind of get an estimate on how much you can save every single month, and I'll put in here like another asterisk, if at this point you've done these things and you haven't talked to a professional, now's the time to talk to a professional. I'm going to come back at the end to some other ways to save money, but I want to talk to you about how you as a realtor can intervene at this step. If we have money going in and we know how much we're going to be able to save every single month, when can people start shopping, and how can you help come up with closing costs and things like that within the deal, within like the real estate transaction itself? So what tips do you have for saving the money or gathering the money on the real estate side of things?
All right. So savings, like I said, she's going to talk about. That was my number one.
Yes, save the money, and we're going to come back to it towards the
detail on that. There are a lot of people don't realize, or some people do and don't know exactly how it all works and all that, but you can always pull from almost always most retirement accounts. If you're buying your primary residence, most retirement accounts will allow you to pull from those retirement accounts penalty free. Obviously check with your tax accountant and all that, see how it will affect everything, if there's any issues there.
Yes, we're not accountants.
We're not accountants, we're not financial advisors, but I know from having experienced this and having done it myself that you can pull from most retirement accounts, you can pull money out.
What is that, like an IRA or 401k?
Yeah, IRAs, 401ks, whatever. Even a lot of like government retirement accounts and stuff like that. Like
I didn't know that.
There are, all you got to do is call them, and it takes a week or two to get the money and all that. But you can pull. They will normally allow you to pull a certain percentage, or some of them will even allow you to take a loan out against it.
Okay.
Like a lot of times up to like 50%. So let's say you've got $100,000 in your retirement account, you might be able to borrow up to 50 grand from yourself. Oh. And then you would make payments back to it.
I see.
So you're not really taking the money out, you're borrowing it, and you're making interest payments back to it. So you are paying interest on that money, but you're paying yourself interest. So you're playing banker to yourself.
Does it not conflict with mortgage?
Nope.
But talk to your mortgage people about it.
When you're doing it on a retirement account, it's different. They still have to take the payment into consideration.
Oh, I see.
For your debt to income ratio, but it's not like, like when you're getting a mortgage, you can't like take a cash advance on your credit card.
Okay.
To go buy for the down payment on a house.
Okay.
So you can't do that, but you can borrow from a retirement account because it's like your money that's already there. It's not actually borrowing.
And talk to me a little bit. So we're in the middle of a pandemic. The little sidebar to this is, tell me, there's something in the CARES Act about borrowing money.
Yes. So
penalty.
There's also a very interesting. So like I said, borrowing from your retirement account has been for years and years and years available to purchase your primary residence. They won't let you buy a second home or an investment account by taking money out of there penalty free. You could, of course, pay the penalty and take money out, but then you're paying penalties.
Then you're paying penalties.
Yeah. So one of the interesting little pieces of the CARES Act that the government passed
for
due
COVID,
to
like
COVID,
in the last couple months.
Yes, is that you can borrow or you can take out penalty free up to $100,000 from your retirement accounts. There is no stipulation on what you use that money for. So you could use that to buy your primary residence. You could use it to buy a second home. You could use it to buy an investment home. You can take money out penalty free. There are tax implications.
So talk to your accountant.
So
again,
talk to your accountant about it. If you don't have an accountant to talk to, let me know. I can set you up with mine. We have talked to him about it. We know basically what the stipulations are, but we can't give you specific advice because.
But that's a nice way to, you can go in and potentially get money that way right now.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that, I don't think.
No. Yeah, it took quite a bit of digging to find out. I mean, people that haven't done research on what that act actually entailed.
That was piece of it.
Yeah, that was part of it. So you could potentially take up to $100,000 out to purchase real estate.
What about down payment assistance? Tell me about that. You said that, like, oh, you could potentially buy with zero cash down. Like, that sounds like a hokey commercial.
There's different loan programs. Liz mentioned the VA loan. If you are active duty or have been in the military in the past and you are out honorably discharged or retired, you can use a VA loan. Which is 100% financing, so you don't have to put any cash down.
Are you like VA certified? What was it that you took recently? We're VA certified too.
Yep.
So if you're a veteran or if you're in the military, we can work with that program. So hit us up if you have questions about it specifically.
Yep. So so you can use a VA loan if you are active duty or previous military. So a vet. And then there's a USDA loan, has specific qualifications, it's another type of government loan that through the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Okay. Do you have to buy agricultural land?
You do not have to buy agricultural land, but you do have to buy in a rural area.
Like here where I live?
Nope. Our area does not qualify.
It feels very rural.
Too populated now, but they're not far from here. Does qualify.
Okay.
Actually, you know what I don't know? I haven't looked to see. Babcock might qualify.
Interesting. I wonder.
Because I know that side of 31 does qualify because we had a client who, when we were looking at the map, they bought this side of 31, and so we missed out on being able to go USDA with them because it was this side of 31 instead of that
side. Interesting.
But yes, so USDA
and Babcock
loans
doesn't seem very rural.
Not inside Babcock, it's not.
No, it's not.
So I'll have to double check and see. But yeah, so USDA loans will do 100% financing. There are some special requirements, including one of those being a rural property. Or being in what they consider a rural area, and then there are like true down payment assistance programs out there. Some of them require you to be a first-time buyer, meaning you haven't owned a property in the last 3 years. Some of them have income requirements. They're a little tougher to find right now. A lot of lenders have stopped some of the down payment assistance programs during COVID. But there are some out there. The one downside to them is with interest rates so low right now, the rates on the down payment assistance programs are typically tied to different interest rates than what normal mortgage interest rates are tied to. And so the interest rates, there's a kind of a big gap right now in interest rates on the down payment assistance programs. So you're getting some down payment help, but you're getting hurt on the interest rate, and then therefore your payment's a little bit higher.
What about closing cost credits?
So closing cost credits from sellers.
So closing cost covers what? So I feel like these are two separate things, and I don't always understand. So I need a down payment. That's money that goes off
that comes off the purchase price.
Off the purchase price of my house. If I'm buying a $300,000 house and I put $20,000 down, that means $280,000 is how much my mortgage is for.
Correct.
But I'm going to show up at closing with $20,000 and
you need more money.
Which, what does that encompass? And I know we already broke it down to...
Yeah, we've broken it down in previous videos, but we can touch on it again.
Yeah, tell me.
So closing costs are the costs that it takes to close on a home.
Okay.
So you have to pay a title company. Okay. There's a bunch of people involved in helping get you to the end goal of owning your home.
Okay.
So the people, your realtor,
okay,
which as a buyer... Here in our area, you don't pay my commission.
Okay.
The seller does. So that's not a closing cost on the buy side. But on the buy side, the parts of your costs would be you have to prepay if you're escrowing, which if you're doing less than 20% down, the bank's going to require an escrow account.
Okay.
So that's a savings account that is your money that you're putting in a savings account with the bank to pay your taxes and your insurance.
Oh, okay. I see.
So your property, you have to fund the escrow account with a certain number of months worth of property taxes and a certain number of months worth of insurance payments.
Okay.
So that money's sitting there for the bank to be able to make those payments for you when they come due.
I see. Okay.
So you have to fund that. You have to fund, you're going to have insurance or interest that you're going to have to prepay.
Okay.
So because you're closing on the home,
okay,
let's say like we're closing at the end of August.
Okay.
So you're not going to have a payment due until October 1st.
Okay.
So you're going to have 30-ish days worth of interest that's going to have accrued before you make a payment. And so you have to pay those days worth of interest up front.
So that's in the closing cost.
So
that's not tacked onto your first mortgage payment.
Correct.
Okay, I got it.
So that's part of your closing costs. And then you have to pay the title company.
Okay.
So
remind me again, in Florida, who typically in our county chooses the title company? It's the
different counties are different. Lee County, Collier County, typically what is customary is buyer picks and buyer pays. Lee County, customary for seller to pick and pay. And when I say pick and pay, it's each party, the buyer and the seller, are going to have to pay the title company for processing their own paperwork. Whoever picks the title company has to pay the owner's title insurance policy.
Oh, okay.
So there's a title insurance policy that gets issued when you purchase the home that says that that guarantees the title's free and clear.
Okay. So sometimes that's the buyer, sometimes that's the seller.
It depends on the county. But that title insurance policy has to be paid. Each party has to pay the title company the processing fee of actually doing the paperwork. You have to pay for the title search. You have to pay for a lien search. Things. So there's different fees that are associated.
And it's all lumped up, and that's what we call closing costs.
Yeah, and then mortgage company has fees too if you're financing.
So tell me about getting closing cost credit from sellers. So say, for instance, you're interested in buying a house and you want an FHA loan, and you're telling me it's 3.5%.
Yep.
But I don't want to save the other 3.5%. You told me at the beginning of this 7% is a good goal. But I saved 3.5, and I have to move in the next 90 days. Tell me about closing costs from seller.
Okay, so
explain like I'm 5. Explain like.
So we can ask the seller to pay your closing costs as part of our negotiations.
Okay, so that means I'm looking at a $200,000 house. They have it listed for $200,000. I could go in there and say, I love this house. I will pay you $200,000 for it, but I want you to then pay $5,000 worth of closing costs.
Yeah, so basically we could walk in and you have this $200,000 house that you love. we can walk in and we can make an offer and say, hey, I will give you $195 for this $200,000 house.
Right.
And I'm going to pay all my own closing costs.
Okay.
I'm going to pay, whatever. Or instead of asking for a discount off the price, we can ask them to credit you at closing a certain dollar amount worth of closing costs.
Okay.
So we can calculate roughly what your closing costs are. We can estimate what they are. We can go to the lender and get a number from them as well. And then we can put that into the offer. Now, I will tell you, in the current market, because it is so seller's market heavy right now,
it's probably difficult to do.
It is more difficult to negotiate that in right now because
everything's less negotiable, right?
Right. So it's not impossible.
Right.
But it's more difficult because everything is less negotiable. People are not willing to take as much off because there's not a whole lot of inventory.
Sure.
So you want to make your offer more attractive, have the money saved. But if you don't, that doesn't mean we can't do it. It's just going to take a little more work, and we might, it might require making offers on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 houses. So it just all depends on what it is and where it is.
Premium interest rate pricing from lender. I don't know what that means. I'm reading off of his notes, and I don't know what half of it means. So explain like I'm 5.
So another option.
Premium interest rate. Go ahead.
Another option, instead of asking the seller to pay the closing costs and basically take a discount off their house, is we can ask the lender to help out.
Oh, like the mortgage company?
The mortgage company.
Oh, okay.
So
I've always why wouldn't everybody do that?
Well, because basically the money's got to come from somewhere.
Okay.
So the
it's
question
not just
is
free
where,
money. They're
right,
not just like, we like you so much as a customer, here's 10 grand.
Nope.
Okay.
Not
all
happening.
right. So where does it come from?
So basically what you can do, what the lender can do, is they can raise the interest rate a little bit.
Okay.
So like right now, interest rates are crazy low, 2.5%, 2.75%, 3%, whatever, depending on what your credit score is and all that good stuff. So we could ask the mortgage company to help out with closing costs by raising the interest rate a little bit. And so what they do is that interest makes them a certain profit margin.
Sure.
So let's say at 2.75%, they're making whatever is their acceptable profit. Well, what if we raise that interest rate to 3.25? That extra 0.5% over this, over 30 years makes them how much additional profit? What they will then do is credit that profit to you up front.
And so you're basically, but I would assume that means you're paying a higher mortgage payment.
You are paying a little bit higher mortgage payment, but the difference in mortgage payment on 0.5%
is how much?
It depends, but you're talking $30 to $50 a month, maybe
for 30 years.
Sure, but if you need the cash to be able to get into the house,
okay, all right, I'm down. That's cool.
And it puts an extra $5,000 in your pocket to be able to buy the house, then
cool.
Is it worth it?
Awesome. No idea.
So you can do that. The other option, or another option, we got a couple more. This would be getting a gift. You're not allowed to get, like we talked about with IRAs, you're not allowed, or retirement accounts, you're not allowed to get a loan to purchase a home.
Right.
But you can get a gift to purchase a home.
Okay.
With a lot of loan programs. There's a cap on how much. There's typically a percentage cap. Okay. On how much. But most loan programs will allow you to get a gift.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So
here's a gift. Who's gifting down payment for
a lot of people?
But I guess, yeah.
A lot of people. So parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters. What a lot of people don't think, it's a tough conversation for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to go to their family member and say, hey, I'm trying to buy a house, but can you give me $10,000? But what may be an easier conversation, I know I've had a lot of clients do it, is go to, maybe they've got a grandparent
grandparent,
or somebody who is older and has some money and is planning on when they pass away. Obviously, that's not a conversation you like talking about, but you're going to get an inheritance at some point. Does it matter? Like, maybe they would actually enjoy seeing that money go to use while they're still around to see it.
Sure. I guess I've never thought about that before, saying like, look.
So would they give you your inheritance early? And whatever, if you have if you've got $100,000 that you're going to divide between your 4 grandkids.
And it's sitting there.
It's sitting there in the bank. You don't really need it for anything. Would you give me my $25,000 now and just write me out of the will?
Huh. That's an option.
There you go.
If you have people willing.
So it's not the easiest conversation to have. Understood. Just like talk. I mean, it's never an easy conversation to talk about. To talk about finances with your family, with people close to you like that.
But I kind of like the idea of like, it would be nice to see it get put to good. At least it's going towards an investment, a smart purchase, and stuff like that.
And so when you're talking about buying a house, none of these conversations are easy to have.
Right.
It's not easy to talk to me about what your credit is. It's not easy to talk to your mortgage company about it. It's not easy to have any of those conversations. While we're having hard conversations, figuring out our budget, why not have another one?
So, and also, too, I was reminded by one of my dear friends, who is a dear friend of the Niesman team and myself, this week. And she said she feels like she learned it from us. You never get what you don't ask for.
Right.
So you don't know if you haven't asked or had these conversations. Like, the worst that could ever happen is somebody says, like, no, sorry, no big deal.
Yeah.
And then you drop the topic.
Yeah, you don't have hard feelings about it. You just got to approach it as, is this something you're willing to do? I'm okay with it either way. I would really appreciate it if you do, but I'm not going to be upset with you if you don't.
If it's important for you to become a homeowner in the near future, we talk to our clients all the time. There's only so many things that you can control or have impact on. Like, you can't determine when you enter the market what the price of the market is going to look like. There's so much you can't change. You might as well ask and do as much as possible for the things that you can have an impact on. And so I think that's a great option, is to just ask.
Right.
To ask the people that are close to you and say.
The worst that's going to happen is they say no and you're in the same spot you're in right now.
Yep. All right, what you got? Employer bonus. Ooh, Can I have one, boss?
Nope.
I don't want to buy real estate with it. I want to buy shoes with it.
Nope.
Please.
So you can a lot of times ask for a bonus. Ask for a one-time bonus, or if you typically get an annual bonus at Christmas time or whatever.
Oh, that's a great idea.
A lot of companies give a once a year or a every 6 months or a quarterly bonus or something like that. Maybe you can ask if you can get it a little bit early.
That's a great idea.
Hey, look, I'm trying to buy a house. Could you give me would you be willing to hook me up with my bonus early? Cool. Had a client do it not too long ago. The other last option I have is private funding.
What's that?
So, again, you can't typically get loans. But like, for example, when it comes to, this is more for like building houses probably, where somebody's looking to do new construction with maybe a custom builder or something like that, and a construction loan's real tough to get. You might be able to get private money. There are hard money lenders. There are other types of lenders out there that will do different things, and they may be willing to finance 100%. You may be able to get a family member who might have some money, or a business that you know. I mean, I've got a client right now that I'm working with that he's trying to build a house himself, owner builder. So he wants to pull the permits. He wants to hire all the subcontractors himself. Well, 99.9% of lenders are not going to fund that because they're basically giving him, if it costs $300,000 to build the house, they're basically giving him $300,000 and saying, "Yep, we trust you're going to go build the house."
Sure.
Well, they might not do that. But he works for a small company who, I mean, they're a big company, but they're privately owned, and
Maybe
he
they
has
can
a very good
fund it.
relationship. He has a very good, long-standing relationship with the owners, and maybe they've got cash sitting around that they would like to invest somewhere.
Right.
Well, you know, what if you're willing to pay them 10%
Well, that's a great idea.
for a 12-month loan to build your house?
Never.
There's
would've
money
thought of
out
it.
there.
There is money out there.
So, you know, there's people that are looking for places to invest their money. And we know some people that are out there that are willing to invest their money somewhere. It's all a matter of structuring the deal to make it make sense to everybody.
Mhm.
You know, what are you willing to pay to be able to get this done? And what are they willing to, you know, what sparks their interest? You know, they want to make some money on their money. What are they willing to do? So there's all kinds of creative ways that we can work things out. It's just a matter of, you know, what everybody's willing to do and what we're trying to accomplish. So
Awesome.
that's what I got. That's the end of.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to tack on some maybe. Now I created a big giant list of like, you can like, don't go to the gym and save the $60 a month for the gym and things like that. I feel like most of that is on the Google. If you go to, you know how to reduce expenses. I want to point out maybe a couple of things that you haven't thought of. If you don't, you should have in your calendar, Google Calendar, however you keep track of your life, every like 90 days, quarterly in your year, you should have a review your financial calendar date where you go in and you pull up your bank statements and you review your budget. How much did you project to spend on certain things? How much are you actually spending on things? And also to use that day once every quarter to call and negotiate with your service providers and do things like shop insurance, review your insurance policies and make sure you're not paying for anything that you don't need to be paying for. You can, when's the last time that you reviewed your cell phone bill and made sure you were getting billed correctly? If you're not doing this stuff at least quarterly, just plug it into your Google Calendar as like a repeat every 90-day event and spend a good solid Saturday afternoon making those phone calls or going online and shopping and finding it. Because you could, say for instance, you have a little fender bender. Do you really know when it falls off your insurance, your car insurance, or are you still paying for a mistake from 6 years ago because you haven't called and had those phone conversations? So make sure every 90 days you're setting aside a budget review and a negotiation day to negotiate with your providers. I want to encourage, if you are currently saving or gathering the green for your down payment and closing cost, do a 30-day diet. I feel like it's, Whole30, or if you ever try and eat healthy for 30 days, like, you can do anything for 30 days. Anything you set your mind to for 30 days, you can do it. And if you're in the last push of trying to scrape together as much money as possible, do a spending freeze. No online shopping unless that's where you're doing your, we are living in like the end of times. And so if you're doing your pandemic, like let's go to Amazon and get laundry soap, but only buy the bare essentials of what you are completely 100% out of, and do your best for 30 days to not eat out, not buy coffee. Like, you can handle it. You can handle anything for 30 days. Not swiping your debit card every time you go for Dunkin' Donut is not that big of a deal for 30 days. and then just go back to your normal living afterwards. But you can really scrape together a good chunk of cash when you say, for 30 days straight, I'm going to take the money at the end of each day that I've saved and slough it over to that savings account that I set up. And then my final suggestion for saving the money is, if anyone follows or does, we talked briefly about the envelope system, and we don't do Dave Ramsey financials, but I know he's got a lot of great information out there for people. Just because we don't use him and his program doesn't mean that we don't support it, or we've heard amazing things about it. But when he suggests that when you're saving for your home, that you put a pause. If you work his system, you should be putting money straight out of your paycheck into your retirement account, like IRAs and 401ks and things like that. He suggests for that tiny little temporary time when you're trying to save for it, to put a pause on saving for your retirement. So to take that 15% that you're normally putting into a 401k, I mean, it should only be for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And then you're buying a piece of real estate that you're going to be making money off of in the long run. So you're putting that money basically into investment. It's just into a different type of investment. So to contact whoever's in charge of your 401k or retirement plan, if you're putting money outside of your paycheck, see if you can make that adjustment and have that money go over to a savings account that's marked for your down payment and closing costs. And so I would say those are the big ones. Of course, you can increase your income if you have the wherewithal to turn a hobby into money on places like Etsy, or if you want to go, I know it's huge, go do shopping for people and deliver groceries. There's all sorts of ways. I know that there's a lot of people who are
Uber Eats.
Yeah, Uber. Drive your car if you have a decent car. There's plenty of ways to make extra money or to save money. I would say the big things are to do those first 3 steps, which is know how much you're trying to save, set aside a separate bank account to make sure that you're dumping it in there. And then number 3 is do your monthly budget of how much you make every single month, and then know how much you're spending on each month on everything. And I think this is from Dave Ramsey's system, but I know that we always act in the idea of, if you don't tell your money where to go, your money will just go anywhere. So if we don't allocate certain amount of money for certain expenses, that money will somehow still magically disappear. And so to make sure that you know how much you should be spending on everything, and then to accurately spend and track it. And I always say, like, I mentioned that we do numbers every single week. I check my bank account every single day, and it's checking your bank account should be like stepping on a scale. If you're afraid to, you need to do it more often. Like, you need to, I'm going to confidently have accurate information about my current status in life. And it's just a number. It just gives you information on where you're at, where you're headed towards, and almost a temperature check of the progress that you're making in one direction or another. And so you should get up, check your bank account every single day, make sure nothing's been charged, especially with fraudulent activity. Check your bank account every single day, see where your accounts are at, and then quarterly do your negotiation.
Yep.
And I think that's it. What else?
That's it. So
I had fun.
If you need help with it,
call us. Let us know.
Not everybody, in fact, probably most people don't run their household like a business.
Yeah, we do.
We do. And so we know how to do it. We can help you do it too.
Yeah.
Even if it's only temporary. Even if you say, hey, I don't ever want to have to do this again.
Sure.
But I want to buy a house. We can help set you up and get you on the right path to make that happen.
Absolutely. Let us know how we can help. Let us know what questions you have. Again, we're the Niesman team, Rachel and Jerry. Out there selling real estate 10 years here in Southwest Florida. If you have any questions about buying, selling real estate, investing in real estate, we do both residential and commercial. Let us know how we can help you. Call us, text us, email us. It's 239-201-9583. JerryNiesman@gmail.com. You can see up here, we're on Jerry Niesman. You can see how to spell his name. And let us know how we can help. And we're going to drop this onto we're going to drop this onto our YouTube channel so you can watch it or review it, and let us know what questions you have. And that's it.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys. I got to do my thing and tell him End live video.
Still got it.